This conference will now be recorded.
I would like to welcome everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. During this presentation, we will be highlighting some of the great new enhancements to Acumatica available with release 19R1. There are a few features that I'm going to show you that came out at the end of 18, but I think they'll benefit you and most people didn't know about them. My name is Jim Davis, and I am an Acumatica consultant with Alliance Solutions Group. Today's topics, as you can see, there are a lot of them that we're going to cover today. So we will not be fielding any questions, but please contact Alliance Solutions Group following the meeting for further information. So we're going to start off with the new centralized period management. This benefits anybody that has multiple companies running inside of a tenant. Currently, what you have is a master financial calendar. So we can go in here and we can close off months. We can close them across the board, APAR, and they're closed across all companies. New features come out that gets enabled. So enable, and we'll just go in here and look at where it is. So when you get the update, you automatically comes in and it does this one right here, the centralized period management, which keeps you the same as it always has been. If we modify this and take that off, let that enable real quick, and we come back to our finance. You notice now I have a company financial calendar also. So this allows me to actually close periods by company. So for those people that maybe have different people reconciling different companies, they want to be able to close this company because they're done reconciling, but this person's not ready to close. You now have the ability to do that in the system, and it's as easy as enabling that feature. The rest of the process still the same. Come in, select the company, and you have your actions to close periods. Great feature for people with the multiple companies. Another feature that a lot of people have been waiting for is the AP invoice for multiple projects. So we can actually do line item tracking of payments now. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to explain it to you. So if we come into our bills and adjustments in AP, I'm going to show you a couple of different invoices that I created earlier here. I have two different ones for AT&T. I'll open up this one first, and you're going to notice a lot of people have a job up here or a project located right up here when they have the one project per document on. So you notice that that is gone. Now we're actually putting the project per line item. So as you can see, I have multiple projects on here, two different projects, dividing that application up. In the background, you can see that we have our financial detail, and I want you to see right here, see this pay per line? That's going to come into effect in about 2 seconds when I show you the next step. I do want to show you the other bill I created, because what I did with this one was I went ahead and it's the same exact bill, different cost to it, but same bill. But in the financial details, that pay per line is turned off. So just to let everybody know, this pay per line is automatically checked on every job or on every invoice. And once you hit save on the invoice, you cannot change that to take it off. So it's something you want to click immediately to take care of it if you want to do it without the pay per line. I see that happening a lot with things like an Amex bill or something like that, where you're charging it to lots of different places. You just want to pay the invoice, but you still want to be able to charge it to the jobs. So that would be a pay per line versus not pay per line. So I'm going to go over here now. I've already gone in and approved these bills, and I want to go over here to our prepare payments. So when we get into the prepare payment screen, and I've already got it set up, I just took off the pay within 7 days, and we scroll down to those different invoices, those AT&T invoices, you're going to see right here that this invoice, the 679, the first one I showed you, actually has two bills to select. It's paying it by line. So if I wanted to pay them both, I could pay them both. If I wanted to pay one of them, just pay for the this project and not this project, I could do that. The other bill right here only has the one because I took off the pay per line. So that's going to be the big difference. Now, just to give everybody a heads up on this, so nobody gets blindsided, if we have the pay per line on, and we're going in and selecting all these bills or all the invoice numbers and lines here, when you print your check, the stub is going to have every one of these on it. So if you have, let's say, a purchase order with 40 lines on it, and you have that pay per line on, it's going to print 40 different lines on your check stub. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that right off the bat, and that way you can avoid that, wow, I didn't know that was going to happen. So it's a great feature because it's allowing us to pay it by line. So I think everybody will enjoy it. Most people, they're doing it more on the on suppliers, maybe concrete companies shipping things, and you have to charge it to two different jobs. Works great. So I think that'll be good for everybody. Moving along. So we have a new feature in the system called project forecasting. Okay. So it's a project budget forecasting. Now, this isn't forecasting like cost to complete forecasting. This is more cash flow forecasting for a project. So what this allows us to do, and I'm going to go into this project here real quick, the hotel project, just so you can see where this gets set up and how it gets set up. So if we come into the hotel project and we go over and we look at our revenue budgets and our cost budgets and our tasks, so I'm going to go to the task here. So if I open up one of these tasks, there's some new fields on it. Planned start date, planned end date. These can be changed if you need to move them around. All you have to do is take this off active and put it back in planning, and they open back up. But this is what it's going to be driving off of. So it assumes that this task is going to take us 2 months. Okay? So when we come out here and I go into my project budget forecasting and I open up this job, you will see my tasks right here with the different account groups all the way down for the different cost codes. And right over here, you're going to notice the financial periods associated with it. That's my planned start, planned end. So this line item right now is set up with a budget of $240,000. We went ahead and we spread that across the periods that are associated with that. So it just immediately said 120, 120. But we can go in and adjust these. So I can say, no, in this period, I feel like I'm going to spend $80,000. And in this period, I need to move that back up to the 160 on the other side. So by doing this, we can adjust our information. And you see that I got an error down there. It's not an error, it's a delta saying, hey, you're off by $40,000 here. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that 160 there. And that, once it updates, we'll get rid of that 40, because then we'll be back at the 240. You can see I never adjusted my original budget. I'm adjusting it in this revised budget amount here. So now we have this information here. If I was actually changing things, maybe this needs to go down $20,000 because we're not going to use it. I can do this and update my project budget from this screen. So this allows us to go through, see what we're going to be spending each month, cost-wise. It also does the income side. So my line items, my revenue tasks here. So we do have this information here. We can get in and adjust things, and we can see that we're applying it against the two different things so we can compare them. So I get a cash flow. So the next thing we want to cover is change requests. Once again, something that a lot of people have been asking for. It was not actually supposed to come out until 19.2, but it is out now. So I'm going to go in here and we're going to just talk about a couple different things real quick about the change requests. You can see it does give us a change request screen here now. But I'm going to go right here to the projects. and we'll open up this hotel project just so I can show you a couple things here. So you're going to notice right off the bat that there's a new tab, change requests. So we're going to be able to see where these change requests are associated with this job. So we no longer have to create a change order and leave it on hold. We have our change requests. So lots of information right there. Now I'm going to go right up here and I'm going to go into the change requests. And you can see I have a couple of them out here on hold. If I look at all records, I can see all of them. So I had already gone ahead and created some and released them. These are on hold still. So the way this happens is if I come in and I look at one of these right here, you can see that I have an estimation tab. So this is what I think it's going to cost me and what I think I'm going to sell it for. Okay, it's my budget towards this item. So if I look across this, you can see I went ahead and put a couple lines on there for a couple different cost codes. It's for an extra slab, so I have my forming and I have my actual slab here with the amount. So this amount here is my cost amount. Now you'll notice that I said mark this one up 15%. There's lots of markups available for this that we didn't really have before. So I have a markup right here. It says, hey, take this and mark it up. So if I scroll over, you'll see that's my cost. Here's my revenue. And you'll notice that this one here was $9,700, but now it's going to be $11,155 because of the fact of this markup. This one didn't mark up at all. Now, if I scoot over here, there's also a line markup. So I can say, hey, look at this line and mark it up. So we have two different markups right there. Now, as you can see right now, I've only got about $1,400 extra in my markup. But if I look at my markup total here, it says $36,1873. That's because we have a whole nother layer of markups that looks at the entire thing and marks things up. So if I look back here, you can see I have a profit. I have a flat fee. I just charged them $12.50 for this one. I have a cumulative, I can say the word, default, marking things up, and then I have put on a overhead percentage also. Even right here, I could go in here and change these numbers and adjust them. And you can see I can have the different account groups right here that I'm charging these to. Because obviously this is all revenue information here. There is actually a whole nother spot that I'm going to show you real quick and then come right back here. If I go in here and I'm just going to open this in another tab. So I'm opening the project back up again. Here it comes. And we'll go back in here into this hotel. So inside the hotel right here, you can see all the information down here that we've had before and still have today. But if I go over here and I look at the GL accounts, you're going to notice that I have document markups right here. So I can define markups for a project on the project. So every time I'm doing something for this project, it will use these markups. We also have the ability in your project preferences to set up those default markups. So if it's going to be these kind of markups across the board, we can have those set up in the background so you don't have to add them to every change request. So moving back over to the change request, do all records again. Open this one back up. You can see how everything is pricing itself up into the system. Now, some really cool things, the detailed description, because obviously we can put print change requests, approval details as things are getting approved. But up here, if I take this off hold, so it's opened up and I just go ahead and save it, and you'll notice that now it is open, we can apply these different change requests to a change order. So we can have multiple change requests become one change order. The other thing that it does that I really kind of like is, assuming you have your change orders set up, the different change order types, you know, an internal, external, CO, they all do different things and put different things on the actual change order to apply it to. One of the things that happens here, if I come in here and I'll just say this is a change order, let's see, revenue and costs. Let's just do this one here. So you can see this one has cost, budget, and commitments. So in that change request, I actually said I needed to create commitments. But we'll go over here and we'll do this project. And I can just say new slab. What I can actually do here in this system is I can grab information and apply it from those different pieces and parts of the change request. So being able to do that and bring it into these different places makes it a lot easier for us to do things. What that helps us with is I can actually release, let's say, the budget portion and the commitment portion because I got a verbal okay to go ahead with this job and I need to update those commitments in my cost budget, and then turn around and use that same change request for the revenue budget, and it will know that it already assigned the cost budget and commitment information. So I can use that change order number 1, let's say, and leave it sitting out there until it actually gets signed for the revenue side. But we already have everything updated in our cost information. So there is a lot of information that kind of rolls through here very quickly, and it helps out a lot having this feature now that we didn't used to have. I'm just going to click on this one real quick. And you see our details. So I can come out here, I can grab the different reference numbers that are available to me at any given time. So the change request really helps a lot. I hope everybody gets to use that needs to use it. Now we're going to move on to our budget warning. So Acumatica has kind of started into this budget warning situation. It is set up in your project preferences. So if we come to our project preferences, you're going to notice right down here we have something called budget control. So right now, there's do nothing and warn me. This is going to get more robust as we move forward into 19.2. But right now it is a warning or do nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out here, and I started setting up a subcontract for a line item on the same project. So if we look at this project, and we'll go over here to our cost budget, and we'll go down here to the 03s, you can see that I have an $800,000 budget here, okay, with the revised budget and everything. So if I come out here and I go into my subcontracts, and as you can see, I've already started creating one. And I come over here and I tell it this one's for $200,000. You're going to notice I start getting these error messages. What it's telling me is, hey, you only had this budget. You've already consumed this much. You only have this much available. You're way over. It will also do that even though I was already over on this particular line item because of a demo I did earlier. It will tell you, hey, you only had $160,000 to go. You're about to go $40,000 over. So that's what the warning is doing right now. It's giving you a lot more detail behind the scenes as we're entering things, so we know what's happening before we issue anything. Great feature, and it's going to get better and better. We did have a number of report updates. I just have this PowerPoint up for you because there are a bunch of them. But the main issue with the updates in this for the projects and the reports this particular release was to get project information on the reports. So anybody that's been using the system for a little while knows that when they go into certain reports, maybe it doesn't have the project name on it and you really wish it had. So that was their main objective this time. There are more, and they're going to be doing it to even more as we move forward. But you can see they've done things like checks pending printing. We can do a select by project. Same as above for payments pending. Add project as a parameter for bills pending approval. So I can go in and just say, show me all the ones for this project. So a lot of project information here that'll hopefully help everybody move forward in the system. substantiated billing. So if I come over here to substantiated billing, what substantiated billing is it actually allows us to look at a project, look at the AP invoices associated with that project during a specific time period. So we know, hey, here's everything that's happened for the month of June, and we need to make sure we bill the owner for this and cover ourselves. That's substantiated billing. One of the neat things about substantiating billing is that if we do this and we run it across the system, if we have attachments on those invoices. So if I came in here and I'm looking at whatever project I want to look at, we'll just go here to the hotel. Sometimes it's easier to just type there, right? And we run this report, you'll see how it goes. So it's showing me per cost code what happened. There's those AT&T bills, by the way, right here. So if there was an attachment, however, this would be highlighted, and if we clicked on it right here on the report, it would open that attachment. So that AP invoice could be opened here. Maybe it was the subcontractor's bill to you. Whatever it is that's attached to that invoice would be able to be opened here. So this is a great one for the approval process for project managers in the field. The one stipulation is they do need to have the access rights to be able to open that attachment. But I think this is a great one as we're coming through on our billings. For those of you that don't know, this is an added module. There is a project management module that is being built out, and a couple things have been added to it this release. So it started off with just the RFIs. Now, as you can see, we do have our project issues and our drawing logs. So if you need some limited project management, so for instance, drawing logs, RFIs, and issues, we do have the ability to do it right in the system and attach everything across the board to projects and have everything in one place. So if we're looking in here and I go in and I'm looking at, here's all my drawings, I can select which ones I want to look at. So this is the actual drawing log. Here are the attachments to it. You can see that this would also assume revisions, anything like that. I can mark any one of them as the current drawing for this particular drawing log. And we can come in, download those PDFs or anything else we need to do. Tracking any revisions, relations to it, activities. So if you have activity logs here, you want to add an email, a task, hey, we need to update this, or we need to make sure our vendors know about this, whatever it may be, you do have the ability to do all that within the project management. Project issues. This is what I always called my yellow pad. This is everything going on the site that I just kind of need to take a look at, do something with. So we can set up these project issues. Now, one of the things that we can do from the project issue is I can take this and turn it into an RFI. So if I need to turn this into an RFI, I can and send it off to the appropriate people to get approved or to get clarification. And then the request for information here, you can see that I am following up on the reasons, but this is a complete project related. I have my request for information automatically numbering per job. I have my question, my answer, everything updating and being able to email out from the system and come back in with our answers. So it's a great little feature. Wanted everybody to know about it. Hopefully that can help some people moving forward. We're going to move into essentially the last thing I wanted to talk about today. It's kind of the fun thing, I think. It's our color coding. So a couple of different things have happened. First, if you have multiple companies, we can actually color code the site. So if we're looking up here on the color coding, if I go into companies, so here are my companies, and I go into the individual companies here, down on this visual appearance right here, if we scroll to the bottom, you can see I can override colors for the selected company, and I can change the color to the color I want. Now, depending on which version of the system you're using, and when I say the system, I mean Windows really, it may look differently when you pop this up, but it is the same concept all the way across the board. What this allows me to do is, as I am moving through the different companies, you'll notice that the color for the companies is changing, allowing me to have a better visual that I'm in the proper company doing what I need to do. Down here with our highlighting of generic inquiries and our side panels. This is one that's going to benefit everybody on this call. So if I come in here, and I'm going to do it through the receivables, and we'll go to invoices and memos here. So you see all my different invoices on this particular screen here. I can sort by dates, things like that. I did add the due date. What I want to do, however, is I want to go in here and I want to actually maybe change the colors, give myself some reds and stuff like that when things are past due. So you can see my due dates is the field that I'm going to sort that off of. The way we do that is right here, and this is available in 85% of the generic inquiries, the invoices, things like that. I can come up here to customization and say edit generic inquiry. It will bring me into this inquiry. So right over here on the results grid, you're going to notice I have this style column. Okay? So I can put this on any one of these different things I want. So here's the invoice number, for instance, the reference number right here. So I'm going to do it there. And I'm just going to click on here and click on the little pencil. And now anybody that's ever written an if-then statement, something like that in Excel, you're going to be able to do this. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to say equals if, and yeah, I did put two I's. That's the way the system operates. And I'm going to come right here to my different fields. So here's all the fields that are on this inquiry, and we're going to go right down here to due date. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say if due date is less than, and here's my date and times today, then, which is just a comma, I want you to, and here's all the different things they give us. I'm going to just say, use this one, so it's going to turn it this red. These are just lighter shades of red. Otherwise, just leave it alone as the default. I like to validate this just to make sure I put it in right, and we're going to hit OK. I'm going to save it, and now we're going to go out there and look at this inquiry, which I can do from right here, or I can go back the way we were. So now this inquiry is going to open up, and you're going to notice that I have all these red fields on the reference number, letting me know they're past due with a visual look to it. I can change colors all over this screen based on if-then statements. And you notice that I highlighted this, but I was using this field to reference it. So a lot of information right there to give us that ability to do these different things. Now, these are AR past due invoices. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was the side panels. So I already have a side panel set up on this, but I'll show you where it is and how it's done. But I'm on this invoice right here. It's past due. I might want to call this guy. Well, instead of having to get out, go to companies, do all that, I set up a side panel. I just click this. It's going to look right here to the company that's associated with this invoice and show me the information. So it gives me a little bit added detail on the fly of the things I'd like to see. That is done the same way by going into our generic inquiry here, letting that open up. And what I'm going to do is right down here on navigation this time. So most of your generic inquiries are going to have this top field right here. This is the one I added. So obviously I wanted to pull a customer record. So I selected the customer. And then all I did was say, use the account ID off of the invoice and match it up to the business account for the customer. So the account CD. And I told it I wanted it to be a side panel, and I gave it an icon of that person. That's why you saw that person there. That's what created that for me. So that when we were in here and we went into those invoices and memos, you can see the little person right here, and it's my customers. I could have 3 or 4 different side panels that I'm clicking on right here if you need them. Typically, that's not the case. So that is really kind of what we wanted to make sure we covered today, because those are the newest, most enhanced features of the system. Right here, you'll see some contact information. So if you have any consulting requests, there's our consulting line, and support requests. For those of you going that have the product already up and running, we do have support at alliance-sg.com, where you can send information and we will set up a support ticket and contact you. So that is where we are, and I wanted to thank everybody for coming today. As I said, if you have any questions, please use those two resources right there, and have a great day.